Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another exciting installment of our Going Global webinar series. I'm Daniela Diaz, 2025 Chair of the Amazing LIBOR Global Committee, and it's a pleasure to welcome you to today's session highlighting Mexico. We are especially proud to feature our MOU partner, AMPI, the Mexican Association of Real Estate Professionals. LIBOR and AMPI officially signed a Memorandum of Understanding in November 2024 during the NAR NXT conference in Boston, and we already have big plans for future collaboration, including educational exchanges and continued global engagement. Did you know that Mexico is one of the most visited countries in the world with over 42 million international tourists in 2023? Its diverse and beautiful landscapes, strong property markets, and growing appeal to international buyers make it a prime destination for global real estate investment. Today, we are honored to welcome three outstanding professionals: Manuel Evia, AMPI Global Director; Flavia Eisenthal, Southeast Mexico Global Chair; and Nancy Soberanis, Real Estate Attorney. They will share with us how real estate works in Mexico, what international buyers need to know, legal tips, and where the opportunities are right now. Let's get started. Flavia, you're on.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. What a pleasure to be again in New York. I was there on January, and I'm thrilled to be in the city that never sleeps, where everybody dreams big. So, my name is Flavia Favela. As Daniela said, I'm the global chair of the Southeast of Mexico, and I'm here all the way from the heart of Mexico, proudly representing AMPI Global, a powerful network of real estate professionals with deep roots and a global vision. Today, we're not just going to talk about properties. We're going to talk about possibilities, about bridge between markets, about connections and sparked investment, about Mexico that's much closer to New York than what you might think. So get ready for a journey that goes from the Mezcal to Manhattan, from the Mexican Caribbean to the Central Park, because what we're sharing today is a fusion of culture, business, and international opportunity. Now it's my honor to introduce you someone who represents the voice and the vision of the Mexican real estate and a global stage. He's a passionate leader, a connector of markets, and a true ambassador of opportunities Mexico has to offer to the world. So please join me and welcome Global Director of AMPI, Mr. Manuel Evia.
Good morning to everyone. Hi, Flavia. Thank you very much. Hello to everyone. I left my heart at New York City many years ago. And I am Mexican, of course, but I love New York. I love also the USA, and I love to make business with all my fellows from the United States. I'm also a member of the National Association of Realtors. Flavia said that many Mexicans we are, and we are very honored and pleased to be here with you talking about what we most love, our beautiful country, and the business opportunities that we have for you in Mexico. As Flavia said, my name is Manuel Evia, and I hold the position of the Global Director of AMPI. AMPI, as Daniela said, is the Mexican Association of Real Estate Professionals. It was founded about 60 years ago and is the largest and most influential organization of realtors at Mexico. We have nearly 8,000 members in the country, okay? And we are fighting to promote the defend of the rights of the realtors and also to keep the good practices in the Mexican market. We are very excited to be here presenting you what is AMPI. We are the leading professional body for real estate. We are in charge of the regulation of the ethical standards, providing training and promoting the market transparency across all the country. AMPI is relevant to international investors because we make the connection between the Mexican agents, the real estate agents, and the professionals worldwide. We support the cross-border transactions and offer networking, referral opportunities, and international cooperation. Some of the benefits that we offer to our members are continuous education, MLS access, credibility, networking events, and affiliation with most of the international bodies, such as the National Association of Realtors, FIABC, CREAN, and other ones that you know well. AMPI was created in the early. AMPI Global is the international branch of AMPI. We were created about 2020, and our mission is to strengthen the global ties and encourage the inbound investment through international collaboration. We are search to professionalize the real estate sector through education and ethics. And our vision is to become the most respected and globally integrated real estate association in Latin America. We are promoting the inclusion of international members in AMPI, submitting proof of licensure of NAR affiliation, paying a small membership fee, $50, and agreeing to AMPI's ethical code. AMPI has excellent relations with the National Association of Realtors. We allow shared certifications, referral networks, and the dual participation in global events. For example, we are going to be at the NAR NXT event at Houston in November, okay, with a very, very strong participation, and we are going to be very happy to say hi to you there. AMPI also hosts a lot of international events, mainly from NAR. We offer the international certifications, such as the CIPS. We are going to offer very soon the CIPS in Spanish in Mexico. Is going to be given by Brenda Taylor. Brenda, you must know Brenda, is the international ambassador for the NAR at our country. We are working very close with her. So it's a pleasure to be here with you. Okay, if you have any question about what is AMPI or how can you join our organization as an international members, please feel free to make it anytime. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now I think that maybe some of the questions that the people that are attending are having, it's how can we make business together and all this legal part, no? As you have a way that you do it in the States, we also have a way that we do it in Mexico. And that's the main reason why I invite Nancy, so she can explain us a little bit how it's this part, it's done over here. Who are the parts involved and how it's the process all going on. In few words, of course, that's also one of the certifications that we give in AMPI, that it's how to make business, but just so you can have an idea, because I think that it's very important as when we have clients that go and buy in New York or they buy in the States, that we hire an attorney in their country, because even though you have your own attorney in your country, you need to understand the laws of the country where you're gonna buy. So Nancy, please let me introduce you. She is an international real estate. One thing that it's not negotiable, it's just legal. That's why we're having the right legal expert by here. And our next speaker, she specializes in the real estate law and plays as a key role in ensuring that every transaction of our client makes in the transparent and secure way. Please join me and welcome the legal trust advisor of AMPI in this event. Nancy, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Flavia. Thank you, everyone. I'm very happy, excited to be here, and I wish I'm going to have the opportunity to explain you in the most easy way I can find the legal procedure of investing and buying a property in Mexico, and also give you some statistics on numbers and also about the cost. So I think we will have a good time by having this chat here. Thank you.
Okay, can you make your presentation, Nancy, about all the legal process now?
Sure.
You can share the screen.
Curious, we highlight some general questions about the procedure of buying a property in Mexico, and I would like to be very fast. If I'm going so fast, please let me know. Basically, the best option, I think it exists currently for a foreigner, which is his first time buying in Mexico, is definitely to create a bank trust. The bank trust is a figure that exists for more than 50 years in Mexico. It's a very safe way of buying property in Mexico. And really, the reason why we need a trust in Mexico is because there in our Mexican Constitution, it says that if the property is within near to the 100 kilometers from the borders and 50 kilometers from the coast, that is called the restricted zone. So if you are a restricted zone, basically this is Cancun, this is Veracruz, this is Acapulco, this is Baja. So obviously all of that is a restricted zone. But if perhaps you are interested in buying property in Mexico City, since that is in the center of Mexico, then you don't need a trust and you can buy the property in your name. This is and the reason why is because it has an historical, a political reason of that has to do with invasion in the past in the history of Mexico. So now let me talk to you about a little bit of the typical purchase process when investors come to Mexico to find an option to invest. They actually make a tour with their realtors. Once they have decided to a property they might be interested in buying, well, there's an offer. After that, there's some dates. No, the offer has some dates and time to make a due diligence. After that, what is the protection that exists all along this process? Well, once you have an offer, as Flavia was saying, is very, very relevant that you have an attorney on your side. And I would like to say that should be an attorney that you choose as an investor, not the attorney that works for the developer or the one that the developer tell you to hire, no, or suggest you to hire. It's very important that every investor choose their own attorney based on their experience. Because this attorney is going to make the due diligence about if the property is current in all taxes, if it's free of liens, if he's gonna find if the person you are dealing with is really the legal representative of that property. He's gonna find, in the case this is a pre-sale project, it is going to find if there's licenses, permissions, all in order, no? And that's why, and once the process is complete, well, last piece of the procedures is certainly to appear before notary with all certificates to close, right? So how does the real estate trust works? So well, for us, it's pretty easy. Obviously, investors sometimes find it some difficult, but because they're not involved on this, we are. So basically, what the bank asks you is to fill a form, a know your client form, which is worldwide known, where basically you have to know the bank who you are, your ID, if you are working, where you're working, your phone number, your email, things like that. And obviously, we also request the permission of Foreign Ministry of Affairs. This is the federal entity that issue a permission so you can buy a property in trust. This permission is good for 50 years. And those 50 years, you can renew those 50 years over and over, obviously, through your families or your relatives, right? Then once the permission is issued, then the bank signed the deed with you. You will receive, we make the closing, right? You receive your keys, and from that time on, you will keep that property in trust for the moment, the years you want, unless you might want to sell it sometime, no? Who are the professional case involved? Well, definitely the broker. I think it's very important to have. I think it's very important to have a reputable broker involved on this procedure. Also, the lawyer, and I rephrase that, should be a lawyer that should be on the buyer's side 100%. Sometimes here in Mexico, we use the escrow agreements, however, are not so common like in the US. Because when we have these pre-sale transactions, the idea is that the developer receive these monies to build the property, to build the development, no? But some other times we do use the escrow. Then after just when all the payments were done, when all the certificates were obtained, then we face the notary to sign the final thing. And obviously, in the case there is the necessity from the buyer to have a mortgage, then we will also have to include the mortgage institution, which could be a bank most of the times. About how long it takes the transaction, well, that depends, and I would like to give 2 examples. Because in the case of the pre-sales, commonly it could take from 1 year to 2 years, sometimes 3 years, because it depends how big is the project, how long it's gonna take the project to be finished. So it is important to make, meaning that if you are buying a pre-sale contract, okay, you hire the firm makes the due diligence, a promissory agreement or a promissory note is signed. And after the promissory agreement is signed, well, we will have to wait for the 2 years to meet again and start the closing procedure. But during those 2 years, the lawyer joins or supervise or catch up with the developer every 6 months or every 8 months to see how is it going, if the construction is still going, and so on, no? But in the case of a property that is already built, the closing could take from 30 to 45, maximum 60 days. But it could be, I would say, 40, because everything is done there, no? I mean, the property is ready. You just have to contact the trust. If the property belongs to a foreigner, obviously everything needs to be coordinated with a bank trust. So the new owner, if the case is a foreigner, the new owner comes in the trust, and the original trustee walks out of the trust. Or in the case the buyer is a Mexican, we also need to coordinate with the bank trust. So the bank trust is terminated, and then the Mexican can own it himself, no? This is an important piece of information. The average closing cost. I would like to make the difference between what are...
Nancy, sorry, I just want to interrupt you a little bit, because we were talking about that people buying like a personal, correct? But there's also people that if they want to buy under a LLC, they can do it, and there's a way how to do it. And also, if they want to create a Mexican corporation, they can also do it, because, for example, we have a company that's called, that most of you might know it, that it's called Gitano, that you have it in New York. That's a restaurant. And we have a Gitano also brand in Tulum. So in not only in residential, also in business, there's a way that we can help together when you have clients that want to have like a brother or a sister or here in Mexico, no matter what part, no? Of course, that the process, it's going to be different. We are not going to explain it today because maybe it will get too long. But it's important to be aware that there are like different ways how to do it. And we're just focusing in the personal way because it's mostly the way that most people like to do it. Because when you're gonna resell your property and you bought it like a personal way, that's something that Nancy's gonna talk later. You can waive some taxes if you became like a resident, no, that it's not as difficult as it is in the States. So sorry, Nancy, keep going, because the closing cost, it's very important to talk about it.
Yeah. Yes, well, I will ratify that certainly foreigners can form a Mexican company and buy through the Mexican company. That is correct. It's just that we, as Flavia is saying, we decided to not go through the details to make it faster and simple. And certainly another way of buying property is by having the Americans or Canadians forming these LLCs, so that LLC is the owner of the trust. So that is also possible, and we can dig on that some other day. Okay, so we were talking about what are averaging closing costs. Well, I wanted to make the difference here between what are the costs involved when you are purchasing the property and when you are selling the property, no? When you purchase the property, obviously you have to form the trust, you have to pay real estate duties, the transfer tax, which I'm going to talk to you about the transfer tax today, notary fees, legal fees, and escrow fees. That is the buyer's type of concepts that you have to pay. But if in case you are a seller, then you will pay some other ones that will be cheaper, except for the capital gain tax, of course. Then you will, if you have a gain, yes, capital gain tax, some miscellaneous, because you need to prove to your buyer that you are current in all taxes. So we do need to make 5 or 6 documents to obtain from the authorities. In case you are selling to Mexican, you have to terminate your trust. Also, you have to pay lawyer fees, and maybe you will have to pay some share of escrow fees. Now, about the, just a second, about the closing costs per percentages. I prepare this column here that is the amount of the transaction in US and the percentage of the closing costs. This is based currently in a property located in Riviera Maya. So you have an idea of how much is it, right? And as you see, as cheaper is the property, as highest is the percentage. So you have to, you might have to pay 8%, almost 8.5% if the property costs $236,000. But then if the property costs $789, you might pay 5.6%. So that you have an idea. Also about here, I would like to make a little parenthesis to talk to you about the transfer tax. The transfer tax, and I think it's a worldwide tax when you buy a property. It's a tax that is payable. In the case of Mexico, is payable to the municipality of the property you are buying in. Here, for example, I mean, I'm talking, you might face different percentages. I'm talking Mexico City, Quintana Roo, Baja, San Miguel. For example, San Miguel, the transfer tax is 2% of the price. In Baja, they have 2% in the south, 3% in the north. In Mexico City, for example, they have a list of average of prices, like the one I am presenting here in the right side. That depending on the price, they have a fixed amount plus a percentage. That is the rule for Mexico City, for example. And here in Quintana Roo, where I am, perhaps the Playa del Carmen is a 3%, to famous spot is 4%, the transfer tax. So, and we also have to consider how larger and how tourist is the area, how larger is the state. Because, for example, here in Quintana Roo, there's and with 9 municipalities. In Baja, which is also a very tourist site, is 5. We have 5 municipalities in the south and 7 municipalities in the north. But for example, in San Miguel, Guanajuato, you have 46 municipalities in Guanajuato. and in Yucatan you have 106 municipalities. So it's different, no? But I would say that overall, as a standard transfer tax, it might go from 2 to 4%, which is the larger tax that you pay when you buy a property. Okay, then what is the notary role? It's very important to highlight here the notary role, because I know that in the States, I mean, any professional, any person can have a license to be a notary. And basically, the license consists in just witnessing that the person that is signing is identify himself before you, right? So, but it's not that the notary gets involved in the preparation of the document, or the notary gets involved or doing something after he witnessed the signature. Meantime, here in Mexico is quite different, because just to start, you need to be a lawyer to be a notary. And once you're a lawyer, you need to have several years of experience, and then get a license from the governor of state. And being the notary here in Mexico is very important, because you are responsible to pay the taxes that are involved on the transaction. You as a notary are the one that pays the transfer tax to the municipality, and you as notary are the one who pays the capital gain tax on a transaction to the federal government. So it's quite different, and it's important. However, let's say that I would define the notary as a secondary, an alternate from the government. But the notary does not get involved really in what is the best interest for the buyer or the seller. They do not get involved on the negotiations prior to the final closing. And so that, I think, is the most important difference. And I think this is the most general information I was able to prepare for you. I'm open to any questions you might have. I'm happy to respond. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so the next thing that I would like to talk about, it's, for example, as you have this huge summit in Houston. We're having this year one in Chihuahua, where you are invited. Manuel, I would like if you can talk a little bit about what is this Congress that we're going to have in Chihuahua this year, and that we are inviting all realtors and brokers from all over the states and different parts of the world, and the importance that this has for us.
Of course, of course. We are going to have our National Congress is going to be at Chihuahua, as Flavia said. It's going to be from October 23, if I'm not wrong, okay? And it's going to have a lot of interesting activities, mainly focused to international real estate agents. We are going to part our event in two parts. The first part must be held at Ciudad Juarez, and it's going to be a meeting for international real estate agents, where we are going to have top class speakers talking about interesting topics about how to make international business in real estate. And the second part would be a traditional event that will be hosted I don't remember if it's at the capital of Chihuahua. It's going to be at Chihuahua, and it's going to be focused to national real estate agents. And we are going to have the elections for the international, not for international, for the chair, for the global, for the chairs of the AMPI. Okay, we are going to elect a new president, and it's going to be a very interesting opportunity for you to know more about how to make business in Mexico. We're going to offer for first time a new certification that was created for us. Is the Real Estate Business MX is the name of this certification, and it's going to be for international real estate agents that would like to know more about the Mexican market and how to make business in our country. I am going to be in charge of impart this certification at Chihuahua, and it's going to be on the October 21 in the morning. We are going to host all the international agents who would like to know more, to get this certification about how to make international business in Mexico. We are going to be hosted this event with Mrs. Regina Helvis, another very reputed Mexican Venezuelan from Venezuela, and also Mexican by regularization real estate agent. So we are going to be very pleased to have you there at Chihuahua on October. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna share, just a second. When I'm gonna send you, because I'm not able to share it right now, I'm gonna share like the dates of the Congress and the different activities that we're gonna have, because as we're gonna have this part that it's for knowledge, they're also preparing like to go to El Chepe, that it's a train, to those sandboarding and different activities that I think that it's very nice, because you not only you get together with other brokers from different parts of the world, that you can also, spend time together and make that report that you need to create business together. Another point that I wanted to talk here, that it's the importance that all of you that might have clients from Mexico know that right now, if you have Mexican clients that want to buy properties in Mexico, they can also apply to a bank loan here with Mexican banks, even though they don't have an account here. And there are also private entities that can help them to buy the properties, of course, with different interests, always an equity from their houses. It's like the best way. But that's the main reason we're having this meeting. So you can understand like a little bit of everything, and you can say, okay, I have this client, but he's not Mexican, he's American. So maybe he can get an equity from his house. But maybe you have another client that have his kids in school and he doesn't want to have an equity for his house, but he can get a loan from a Mexican bank, so they can do it. So for all this thing, it's what we want AMPI Global and LIBOR to get together, so we as brokers of both sides can see the best way how can our clients make business together, and not only in the residential way. I think that this new opportunity also of the industrial way. For example, I have my daughter working right now in Boston, and their company are opening sister in Querétaro. So, sometimes we're missing all those opportunities that we can be getting if we know the way to do it. And that's the main reason we are here. So you can know that if you have a client that's looking forward to make a business of buying a hotel, buying up a land, buying a house, wants to have another restaurant, as I just told you about Gitano, whatever, we are here to help you and do the business in the right way. As if we have clients that want to buy in New York, we can know that we have you to make this process the best way for both parties. I don't know if somebody has something else to add. If we wanna go to questions, Daniela.
There is actually a question in the chat that I was waiting, but if we have time, someone's asking how they can join AMPI, and what are any of the fees or any of the membership perks that you get from it.
Okay, Manuel, do you wanna answer that question? And I'm gonna share the screen where I have the document.
I knew that you were prepared for this question, so I thought that it was so relevant.
Yes. So, Emmanuel, if you want to talk, I'll just show this.
It's very easy to become international member of AMPI. You only need to fill an application that Flavia is showing us on the screen, and after filling your application, you can make a deposit, okay, of $50, and then you get you fulfill all the requirements, okay. You automatically become international member of AMPI. It's very easy, and we are of course open to have most of you being members of our association. It's very easy, and we are going to share with you this document, this guide, okay, in order to be able to help you to become members of AMPI.
Well, another thing that I wanted to know, I want to thank you, Evan and Daniela, for this opportunity to AMPI Global to be part of your section of LIBOR. I'm more than pleased because New York is the mecca of the real estate. So it is what it is, no? And for us to be that you can host us in a webinar, it's very important for us. And I would love to be invited to keep doing this, like not as long as today, but maybe we can do it as we were speaking before, like 10 minutes, and then we can go all over from, let me share my screen now. Please just think that you have a guacamole, a tequila, something like this. And no, wait me a second. I have it over here. Okay. And here we are, because what we want you is that all the clients that already bought your first property in the States, they're making transactions here in Mexico. I'll talk about Riviera Maya because it's where I live. I live in Playa del Carmen, and we're looking forward, for example, to be a Miami over here, and that high quality of life that you can have for less money than what you're getting, for example, when you're getting retired. It's huge. And we have a lot of line codes and a lot to offer. Maybe we don't have as big malls as you do in the States, but we do have a lot of natural places where to go. We have more than 264 hectares of lagoons. We have more than 1,200 cenotes. We are the house of the second biggest coral reef in Mexico. And something very important that I think that Nancy said, it's about the capital gain and everything that it's coming. Now we have the Mayan train that it's touching different states. It's touching 5 states, and we're having 25 stations. But imagine owning a property where the annual tax that you're gonna pay, it's instead of being 5, 10, 15,000 US dollars as you do it in the States, can be 200. I have an apartment in Playa del Carmen that it's 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. And my annual tax, it's $40, 4 with a 0. That's what I pay as annual tax. So
Annual,
when
wow.
you see, so when you see those things and you have the knowledge of different things, it's when those investments make sense. Because I do have family in the States. I have an aunt living, for example, in Aventura, and I also have a cousin living in New York. And I'm not gonna tell you how much you pay for annual tax, but that's the return of investment that you can have of a property. And we won't be talking that you're gonna make 8%, 12% of return of investment. I don't like to talk that way, because right now we are in a moment where you don't know what's going to happen. We are in a global issue. That's what I will say. I don't want to talk about politics, because we don't know really both points. But it's true that I have a property where I can get paid if I rent it for 1,000 US dollars, 800, 900, whatever. It's going to depend on how the furniture is. And what I'm going to pay for HOA, it's going to be $100. And what I'm going to pay for, I was just laughing the other day, because I have a daughter living in Boston, a son in Miami, and a daughter in Munich. So I perfectly understand dollar, pesos, and euros, And when you rent an apartment in Munich, you're paying 15 euros for 19 meters, no? And that you have to add electricity, heater, and all that stuff. If you go to Boston, my daughter is looking for an apartment, it's $250 without the $100 that you have to pay for the parking, without the electricity and this and that. And if you're coming to Mexico, welcome here. My house is your house, and all the parts of Mexico. You're gonna pay, what do you want? I pay for water this month. I forgot to pay last month, and I paid $25. For internet, I pay $25 because I have a high internet. For electricity, because it's really hot and I'm using a lot my AC, I pay $50, 50. And if you're gonna rent an apartment, for example, where I lived, that I won't say that it's a snob place, or it's not Long Island and all this. you can get $900, maybe more. I'm just being like conservative. So if you put all this information together, then you see, okay, maybe I don't have the money to buy, maybe my client by himself doesn't have the money to buy one property by himself, but maybe three of them can buy one together, and two vacations pay off the apartment. So that's the way we want to make people think and understand why we are a very good option to make business over here. And also that you don't have time. If you come to Playa del Carmen here or Rivera Maya, please text me, and I'm gonna make like all the things, all the places where you have to go, and you won't have time with 15 days, because there are so many cenotes. We don't have Walt Disney here, but we have Xcaret, where you have a show that it's like a Broadway show of the story of Mexico. So it's understanding the different ways of how you make business and what you're getting for what you're paying, and that's the main reason that I think that these webinars are so important, so we can understand what pro we have having a property over here.
I love Mexico. I have been to Riviera at least 9 times. The last time I was there, I actually rappelled into a cenote. It was amazing. What areas are up and coming in Mexico? What are some areas that like some investors are maybe like flocking to because maybe it's like a good investment right now and there is possibility that it's going to be a big return? Where are we on the lookout for?
Manuel, you want to talk? That I talk a lot.
Yeah. The northern beaches, also as Baja California, okay, it's very hot. Everybody wants to invest there. At Cabo, for example, San Miguel de Allende also is getting a lot of investment. Mexico City, Puebla, industrial and commercial, and Monterrey. Okay, Monterrey is extremely important for the industry in our country. A lot of companies came to Monterrey for the nearshoring to establish their facilities, their industrial facilities there. And in the south, Merida is also is very attractive, and it has a lot of demand between the foreign investors. And of course, the beautiful Rivera Maya, as Flavia is saying, Tulum is on fire. Cancun, as always, Cozumel is also with. Yesterday we have a meeting, Flavia and I, with a developer from Cozumel. They are making incredible things. They are growing incredible communities there, and also has all the country has a lot of amazing possibilities of investment for you and for your clients also, of course.
When Flavia was here in January, we had Onyx here, and Daniela and I found our retirement property.
I think everybody wants to have a house in Mexico. It's very close. It's only 400 to go there, right? And very affordable. I have a question though, like for international people, like do we have to pay extra taxes, or when you sell, you have to pay more taxes in the sale, like capital gain, or is the same than everybody else? Like for example, here, international people, when they buy and they sell, we have to get some money left for the taxes, for the gaining taxes. So we have to reserve like 15%, I think. So my question is if that is the same in Mexico.
Well, yes,
or for example, Spain.
Yeah, well, we need to understand that when we talk about being resident in Mexico, it means that with the Mexican residents, you have the right and obligation to be, after you get your residence, you get filed at the Mexican IRS. Obviously, if you do not have any labor activities, I mean, if you're not working, your fiscal status will be like suspended. What the benefit here, one of the benefits here is that once that you become a Mexican resident, a permanent Mexican resident, you are able to qualify to pay taxes, capital gain taxes, as you were a Mexican. And there is a chart on the federal capital gain tax law that specifies some averages that Mexicans have to pay based on the gain that they have. So you could be paid the maximum rate that anyone can pay, whether it's Mexican or foreigner, is 30%. But then if you are a foreigner and you buy a property in Mexico, and after that you qualify and you can apply for the Mexican residency. And once you have your permanent residency, when you sell the property, you are open to have an exception of $350,000. So whatever is that's the maximum top that you can make the exception on, and you will pay taxes for the rest of the price.
And even though like you don't get the permanent residency, like for example, if you wanna get a second home in there, like for retirement or for vacation.
If you don't get your residency, you will most probably you will end up paying like 30% of your gain.
Okay. That's good. I have visited so many places in Mexico, and one of my favorite places is San Miguel de Allende. I think it's a lot of people, San Miguel de Allende is all international. They speak different languages around the people. It's amazing. So I always love Mexico. Thank you so much. Is there any other question?
It's the first place in Mexico for wedding. I know that they have a church that they open once a year, and people make a line to take the day of the day that they want to get married. Because there's so many weddings getting over there. Yeah, but that's a nice thing of Mexico, that it depends what you like, you're gonna find that spot, because if you want beach, you have beach. If you want a town like San Miguel de Allende, then you have it. If you want beach with mountains, then you go to Puerto Vallarta. If you want wine, then you go to Baja. If you want city and a lot of museums and theaters, then you go to Mexico City. So what you name it, we have it. Thanks God.
So what about the health? Sometimes when you have a second home or you want to move for retirement, you want to think about what is the health system, right? For example, Costa Rica is free, and how is in Mexico?
The health system is first class. We have first class hospitals, private hospitals, of course, all around the country. And we have some cities that are natural health destinations. One of them is Merida. A lot of people came from the States to have their treatments made here at Yucatan. For example, the dental, orthodontical, all kind of health services as first class in Mexico, first class. Also Mexico City, and in the north of the country, in Tijuana, for example, there are excellent doctors too. Okay, so all around the country, we have excellent medical services.
Perfect. Yeah, I actually try. I something happened in San Miguel de Allende. I have to go to the hospital, and they were amazing. They were amazing, and even not, like the prices were very affordable.
Yeah, very affordable.
Yes, and it was private, so that was good. I had another question, but is some other question, Evan?
A lot of the questions have been getting answered in the chat. I think we're up to date on everything.
Awesome. Probably one of the most concern is about safety, and in Mexico, like sometimes the news put the whole it's horrible. You know what I mean? So I would like to see what is your opinion about that?
Yeah, I need to be very honest with you. There are some places in Mexico that are extremely complicated. For example, some cities at Sinaloa, for example, some cities at the Bajío, at Michoacán, for example, are very complicated. But most of the country is in peace, okay? Most of the country is in peace. For example, Yucatan is one of the safest states in the world. Mexico, Merida is one of the five safety cities in the world. So this is amazing. You can walk in Merida 3 o'clock in the morning with any concern, okay, feeling free. We have one of the best police systems in the world, of course, and that's an advantage for us, for the Yucatecans, and also for a lot of cities of Mexico. Okay, there are some places that are complicated, but not all the country.
Awesome.
And
What about?
And also, let me tell you something. That they just said, I'm gonna send you the info because I read it yesterday, that there are 5 hospitals that are from Los Angeles. It's called Los Angeles, the Franchise, that they just won like an awards of health. So they're very, very good hospitals. In Merida, you have, for example, a new hospital that's called Faro, that you go in. And you don't know if you're in Mexico, if you're in the States, or you're in Europe. It's incredible.
Oh, for the hospital. Okay, going back to the safety. I know, like Pueblo Mágicos, they're very protected. Is that true?
Yeah, of course.
They call them Pueblo
We have a
Mágicos.
lot. We have a lot Pueblos Mágicos in Yucatan, for example. We have Valladolid, we have Izamal, we have Cizal. It's an amazing port, an amazing little port, very romantic and incredible. You can have excellent times there. They are very protected, inclusive the Mexican army is in charge of a lot of protection activities in the country, and a new body that is named the Guardia Nacional, that is formed mainly by U.S. militaries. Okay, so the government is taking very seriously the topic of the safety of the Mexicans, and of course the foreign investors, the investors that came to our country.
Okay, is there any other question? We can start. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for all the information that you shared. Thank you, our friends Manuel, Flavia, and Nancy. We truly appreciate your time and expertise. We don't have any more questions, right? Before closing?
I think we're okay.
Okay, we are very proud of our partnership with AMPI, and we are excited to keep building more opportunities together. Thank you again, Manuel, Nancy,
Thank you very much,
Flavia, and thank you everyone who joined us today. Let's continue to build bridges across borders and create meaningful global connections together. Until next time, thank you for going global with us.
Thank you for having us.
And be aware of all the opportunities that we have. We're trying to bring our members to join us. We do we're having a lot of events, but now the next one is gonna be, we're gonna go to SILA. It's not a trade mission, it's a convention, but we're gonna see some properties in Dominican Republic. So we invite all of our members to come with us. And so be aware, like go to lirealtors.com/global to all our activities and join us for the global community. You're gonna see Flavia more in there in our meetings. So it's open for everybody, and we're trying to welcome everybody to join us. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Daniela. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.
This is just the beginning.
Just the beginning. Meaningful connections.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hold on.
Bye-bye.